Death Stranding 2. On the Beach takes place in Mexico and Australia. Yes, it's true that Death Stranding 2. On the Beach is set in both Mexico and Australia. The game begins in Mexico, but players will eventually journey to Australia, which will be the primary setting for most of the game's experience. Australia's vast open world and challenging environment, including natural disasters like sandstorms and earthquakes, are key elements of the gameplay. Kojima Productions revealed previously that Death Stranding 2 on the Beach would take place outside of the United States of America. With various new previews, including by the PlayStation blog, now available, it's confirmed that players will venture to Mexico and Australia. Mexico. The game starts in Mexico, likely serving as a tutorial and introductory area. Australia. After the initial Mexico portion, players will travel to Australia, where they will spend the majority of the game's playtime. Set 11 months later, the sequel starts in Mexico, where Sam lives with Lou. After taking a request from Fragile and running into an incident, he eventually travels to Australia, which must be reconnected like the UCA. While the first game was a slower burn, the preview noted a faster pace in the sequel with much earlier access to new equipment and structures. Open world. Australia is described as a large, open-world environment that players can freely explore. Challenging environment. Australia's landscape is not only vast but also dynamic, with frequent natural disasters like earthquakes, sandstorms, and even wildfires, which players must navigate. Gameplay. The core gameplay loop involves delivering packages to scattered survivors, navigating difficult terrain, and potentially rebuilding infrastructure. Vehicles. Players will have access to vehicles that can be customized for various purposes, such as extending battery life or adding turrets. Natural disasters. Earthquakes, sandstorms, and other natural hazards will impact the landscape and force players to adapt their delivery routes. On the Beach title. The title, On the Beach, likely refers to a famous Gregory Peck film set in Melbourne, Australia, further hinting at the game's Australian setting. Story elements. The game's story is expected to continue the themes of the first game, with players potentially rebuilding connections and overcoming obstacles in a post-apocalyptic world.